Es un honor para mí poder estar hoy acompañada de una lideresa muy importante. It is an honor for me to be with a woman that I admire. It is always interesting and inspiring to get to know these successful projects led by a woman like Caroline Beteta. So nice to have you today. Thank you very much for your time.
Oh, thank you,
and for
Paola.
being here.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure and an honor.
I want everybody to know about, about you and this hard work that you've been doing with all these men and women to bring us to California.
Yeah, well, I've had the opportunity to lead Visit California for over 20 years. I'm their first hire CEO, and the tourism board, which, you know, everybody knows about tourism boards, ours are modeled a little bit differently, perhaps California style, where we, look to our agricultural commodity boards that are made up of multiple partners and growers, whether it's pears or peaches, oranges. We have over 30 commodity boards in California, and so the industry got together and decided, let's do a commodity board for tourism. And we have 20,000 investors, and we've been doing this now for 25 years, and it works really well. It's a nonprofit organization that champions travel, and California is a premier travel destination, just like other tourism boards, but we're not part of government.
20 years, but still you've got always new challenges. And well, this pandemic has been a huge challenge, of course, but you never stopped working. Actually, a lot of things kept happening in California during these months.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was a huge challenge, and we didn't know where the twists and turns would lead us. But what was really interesting is watching the industry grapple with the pandemic and seize opportunities in terms of what can we do when we come out of it. So they still had a vision of what's new in California, and that was so special to see this whole new California arise after 2 years of sheltering in place. So, for example, with regard to theme parks, Disney, they're releasing their Adventures Campus, and San Diego has this incredible concert venue, Rady Shell, as well as Comic-Con Museum, and Legoland also is building the Ferrari Park and Race. There's just so many things. LA Academy Museum, finally a museum after the Oscars experience, for example. San Francisco, there are outdoor places in San Francisco like the Presidio Tunnel Tops where you can actually hike and be outdoors in San Francisco. And then Palm Springs, a lot of our culture is having so many Native American tribal establishments. One of the biggest is the Agua Caliente Indians that's building a cultural center and museum right there in Palm Springs. So super exciting what's happening in California.
Yeah, you used the time. You used the time to get ready for this moment in which we want to go back to California. It's open now for everybody.
Yes, and not only do we have these great attractions, but the hoteliers were busy too. We actually put about 50 new hotels online since the pandemic began, and we have another 20 coming out in the next year, all up and down many beachfront properties. So those that weren't building new product were rehabbing and renovating products. So again, it's just between the experiences and the accommodations, it's a whole new California.
We heard you earlier this morning talking about how important Mexicans are for California as tourists. Why is that?
Well, it's our #1 market, and let's face it, we share a border, and we're kind of a nation state, like Mexico is a country, and Mexico, California has one of the largest trading corridors in the world. But most importantly, we're connected as culture. My first husband was Spanish Mexican, my daughter's Mexican. I mean, that just speaks to the fact that how connected we are as kindred spirits and culturally, and that's really why we see so much visitation coming in from Mexico and Californians going to Mexico. Prior to the pandemic, Mexicans spent $1.5 billion in California. Absolutely huge.
And Besides, yeah, I do feel when we Mexicans go to California, we somehow feel at home.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about this team working with you and how they make it possible, because there are some destinations that we all think of in California, but there's always other surprises we can still find over there.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much. Like this trip, we have 16 delegates, 14 destinations, and really some of the best that California has to offer. You know, Mexicans now are really discovering the road trip, for example.
I so want to know about the road trips.
Yeah, I know, I want you to come and experience Highway 1. I mean, we have, 400,000 miles of scenic byways, more than any other state in the nation, 840 miles of coastline, and these wonderful little villages that are nestled in between each and every turn that are just, just a bounty of surprise when you jump in that car and have this sense of freedom and an organic itinerary.
Well, when I think of California, there's so many things that come to my mind. Of course, I think of technology. I think of innovation.
Yes,
right?
yes.
That is also part of California.
It is, and I've been doing this a long time, and it's more than just tourism or visitation. It's really sharing with the world what we have in California, and I can't help but think it's this incredible, rich diversity of landscape that has inspired this idea of this entrepreneurial culture and innovation that has given rise to things that we do want to share with the world. We have more national parks and state parks than any other state in the nation. We have more commercial airports and private airports, so more accessibility from north to south. You can enter and exit anywhere in California, as well as, just the fun things. We're the birthplace of blue jeans, and we are even the birthplace of Barbie. Blue jeans and Barbie, what a perfect pairing, as I segue into the fact that we produce over 80% of all the wine product in the nation
I was lucky to.
Did you get a little sip of that?
A little sip of that,
good.
Yeah.
We need to have you experience more for sure. So, and then, you can't just have wine without food, and we truly believe that. That's part of our ethos. We actually produce 50% of all the fruits and vegetables in the nation, just this one state.
See, I started this conversation telling you how inspiring it is to hear from women like you. What inspires you to go ahead with this job, sharing California with the world?
I honestly am humbled by the fact that we have 20,000 investors, companies that are paying us to be the brand steward and shepherd that brand globally. And these are iconic companies: Disney, Universal, Marriott, all of our rental car companies, our great experiences, our destinations. And when I meet with our investors, that's what inspires me. They're the best in the world. So we need to rise to that. And honest to God, that's what inspires me, is spending so much time with them and making sure we're delivering on the experiences they deliver directly to visitors.
Well, it's been a pleasure for me to talk to you. Thank you very much. And thank you for having me in Napa and Sonoma some days ago. It was a wonderful experience. I really would like to add that that's a very important thing about California, their people. That's what makes the difference. I mean, everything that you mentioned before, but of course that the way you receive tourists, that is also very important. It's always warm.
We get excited. It's like your family, come see us. And then it really happens, because that's the warmth and spirit of the Mexican people. And that's who we are too. So it's organic, but it really does create this seedling and grows into a beautiful experience.
Yeah, we do connect, and that's also part of a great trip. Thank you very much,
Thank you, Paola.
Muchísimas gracias.